Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Serving It Up. That's the time when we start the show. That is the time where Matt Holliday decides to adjust his phone. Welcome. We have a full panel. No Kyle Gibson today, but we do have Lance, Matt Holliday, and look who's joined us. Matt Carpenter is with us. Can we get applause for Matt?
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you. Hi,
guys.
Matt. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Just chasing kids around and coaching youth sports. And when I have some downtime, playing a little golf. There's a lot of fans in this room. I don't know if you guys can see that. Uh,
Wow, it's
Clubhouses,
nice and chilly in there.
clubhouses need that. Golf
yeah,
clubhouses need that. Just dirty
yeah,
shoes, bad golf swings. You gotta get the stink out of there.
that's right. That's right.
So
Did
I
you think
wanted
you were
to
just
ask
going to
this.
take a quick shot at me and not response right there?
He did. He went away from you right away to make sure you couldn't
I'm
come at him.
I'm just making sure I have the right setup for when we actually go on to like a real network where people watch. I want to make sure that I have everything set up when we go big time when there's actual people watching.
Yeah.
I'm still going to use this studio with the fake mic. This isn't even plugged into
Your
anything. I mean,
your
I
AM
guess
mic.
we're
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah, it's
I've
AM
got a
radio.
real mic and a computer that I'll use whenever we do it for real.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah. Do people
Um,
watch this?
No.
they do.
Oh,
There's
Well,
a
okay.
they
couple
say
guys at the
no.
golf
So,
course that love it. I don't know. I was like, all right, sounds good, man.
so
There's like
we got
four.
we
Jim's
got
mom. Oh,
we got 2,400 views on YouTube, but it's also on another platform for podcasts, which gets thousands of listens. So combined, yes, people do consume this product. Now, if we go to like foul territory where they have a bigger reach, then more people will watch it. And at that point, I'm sure Lynn and Holiday will say, we need to upgrade our host. And then I'm out. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
It's
I
a
had a
gradual. It's a gradual. We're just getting good, and then we'll cut out Jim. So we're just
I like it.
refining our skills, and then we'll
And then
find
you,
a good
then
host.
you trim the dead weight at the end. I love
yeah,
Yeah.
it.
the weakest link has to go. I did have to ask you this, Matt Carpenter. I'm going to just go with Carp because Lance Lynn said something that you guys have all been through now, and I just want to know if it's true. Lance Lynn said because he explained what some of the players that retire go through. First year of retirement for a former MLB player that's put in some years is a year where they do everything the wife says because they've been away staying at five-star hotels for a lot of time. Is that true?
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to pay it back. I mean, all three of us have strong women at home that kind of keep the house in order while we can focus on ourselves. And it really takes one, to have success at the major league level. And we are all very fortunate to have very selfless women in our lives that we owe a great debt of gratitude towards. And I screw up all the time, but I'm trying my best at home to make up for it. Yeah, I totally agree with Lance. We're spending lots of time now as honey-do list and helping out as much as we can and trying to take that burden off that they've carried for so long.
We enjoyed watching Matt Carpenter play for a long, long time. Matt Holliday, do you have a story or something that could make Carp uncomfortable that you might want to share? Anything like that?
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
I mean, we got to go here right away.
gosh. I
Welcome to the
was
show,
just I
baby.
was just thinking as he was touting himself for how much honeydews he's doing as he's sitting in a golf clubhouse, and literally every time I talk to him, he's golfing. So he I think he drops the kids off at school and then he golfs all day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll grab him on the way home." 8 hours later, after I've played 36. So yeah, I don't know about if we're jumping right into like stories that would make him uncomfortable. I don't. Um, I'll hold off. I mean, you kind of caught me on the spot on that one there, Jim. I mean, there's
That's a good host. That's a
Hey,
good
yeah,
host.
she
yeah.
plays tennis during the day, so I mean,
Okay, all right,
we
okay,
got things
fine.
going.
Yeah, no, but don't act like you're just at home like fixing the refrigerator or
No, that's true. No, I hire
yeah,
out for that. I hire
you're
out for that.
you're out back trimming the trees or making sure that
I take the trash out. She used to have to do that a lot, you
yeah,
know. So I'm doing that.
yeah. On the
Um,
way to your car to get in the car to go to the golf course.
Hey, I can't argue with you. I
Yeah.
can't.
Look, I get it. I just want to make sure that we're, the 17 listeners know that it's just not all.
I
Uh,
Question
painted.
is
I painted. I
how
painted
far out of the
a
way is
picture.
school from the golf course? How far out of the way do you have to go to drop off at school to get to the golf course?
Thankfully, it's on the route. So I know I painted
Oh
I
boy.
painted a picture like I'm really grinding. But yeah, you called me out on it. I get it.
It's still about carp. Lance, do you have a story about carp? Because I have one.
You have one? Then why don't you share yours?
Yeah,
You
Jim, let's hear
want to
it.
go
yeah,
for
I
it?
didn't
Okay.
even know where we were going with that. So why don't you start it out, and then maybe
He
we
was
can
like, "Hey
follow
guys, you
up.
want to talk so I can tell my story? Just tell
Yeah,
your story,
Yeah.
Jim. My goodness."
serious.
No, I'm trying to show
You tell
respect
your
to the.
story while you can before we cut you out of this thing.
Okay, then I will. Now listen, I'm a reporter and I sit on secrets, right? I don't leak bad stuff. I've never told this to anyone, but someone told me, and it just hit me when I was asking Matt Holliday for anything that might make you uncomfortable. But I do remember when you were a player, there was some speculation from your teammates that you did not flush.
Oh, jeez. I mean,
Did you ever hear that?
is it like do I have a perfect record? Like, does anybody have a perfect record? I mean, we all make mistakes, right? But to say that I'm like a habitual non-flusher, I mean, my wife would be probably a better answer to that. I mean, I think her response would probably be the same. Is he perfect? No, but does he does he flush most of the time? Of course.
All right. All right,
Uh,
Lance, you got
go ahead.
anything?
Go ahead.
I've never followed him to know exactly if he is a. But some guys are like the skit where you just you leave one in there for the next guy just to hear him bitch. So sometimes it's just good fun when someone's waiting. When you're in Wrigley Field and there's one shitter in the whole clubhouse and you leave a floater for the next guy in the 9 a.m. Food line. Yeah, that's just good fun. So I mean, if that's the case, then we're fine.
And that
There's
place is small enough where you're gonna smell it.
You're smelling it
That's
even if it's flushed or not. It's already
yeah.
in your it's already in your eggs. It was already in
you're
your eggs while you're at your
you're basically your
yeah,
foot's on top of somebody else's foot
yeah,
in the
butt
stall
cheeks
next to
right
you.
here. Yeah, the aroma of shit everywhere trying to eat your breakfast to get ready for a 1 o'clock show and go at Wrigley Field. That was a beautiful time.
At least the toilets now aren't the same ones that Babe Ruth used because they used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how
Uh,
Well,
Babe got down the tunnel
there
back
was
in the
there
day.
was my first year in St. Louis. There was I won't name names, but there was
name them. No one's
uh
watching.
Brendan Ryan and Joe Mather. Brendan Ryan used to. I think he would go several days without going, and then when he would go, it would he was so proud of it that he would "Hey Joe, you got to see this," and it was one of the ones that would be all the way down and then coming out of the water and just take pictures of it, just such weird over the top poop obsession that I would just be like, is he really going in there? Joe would go running in there to see the masterpiece that Brennan had created. So
Jim,
all kinds
I
of.
can't believe this is where you're taking this right now. This is your doing right here, where we've just gone right here.
Hey, AJ Przinsky in foul territory. Nobody does poop talk better than we do on serving it up, right? It's a promo. It's an advertisement for what we do. One of the
Sales
things
pitch.
that's great. Go ahead.
No, you just got a sales pitch going here.
We're about the poop. You guys were all former Yankees. And it seems appropriate now to discuss because last night the Yankees were bounced by the Blue Jays from the postseason, and I'm just curious the pressures that come along with being a New York Yankees. Now, you guys have had long storied careers, been with a number of different teams. Is is playing for the Yankees different in terms of what you feel the expectations are and the pressure that comes along with it? And Matt Holliday, who should I start with? I'll start with you because you criticized my calling on last time. And since you could fire me from the show, I'll start with you.
No, Lance was pissed last time that you started
You
with
went to
me.
Matt every time, so you're just doing it again.
Go,
We're
Lance.
getting it out of the way.
Lance Lynn, I meant to ask you, as a former New York Yankee, is there additional pressure that comes with wearing the pinstripes?
I think that any baseball player would would agree with this. It's a different world in New York than it is in a lot of places. The pinstripes, the Bronx, what you're expected, just the lights every night. There's no doesn't matter what day of week it is, you're expected to show up. And Yankees fans want you to show up and play at an all-star level every day, no matter what. It's like they're the ultimate fantasy football or fantasy baseball players because they want you to hit a home run every night and go 3 for 4 and strike out 10 as a starter. And that's what they expect from you. So when you say pressure, no, we all put pressure on ourselves to play at a high level, no matter where we are and what we're doing. I would say that expectations from a fan base and from an organization seem to feel a little differently, but I wouldn't say that that's kind of the idea from other organizations. They're expecting the same thing from you. It's just there's just a different type of media there, a different type of spotlight that enhances things a little bit more.
How about you, Matt Holliday? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think like Lance said, the outside noise is louder. There's the expectations. I think the fan the fan personality. Obviously, Northeast people are harsher. They're more
Whoa,
what?
I'm a
Are you?
Northeast person from
You've
Yeah.
New
been there
York.
in years.
Well,
Stop claiming it.
I
Carry
I,
on.
I don't think it's. I mean, like like Lance said, from a player standpoint, I think if you play hard, play the game hard, and go out there and they see you playing hard and giving it your all, I think the fans are fair in that way. As far as towards the players, certainly there's more coverage, there's more media, there's more expectations of winning every game, and then that comes with the territory. Like if you play for the Yankees, it's a storied franchise. You know what you're getting into. So I actually liked the intensity of every night and the crowds and the expectations. I think it's way more fun to play in that environment, to play in places where there's no expectations, there's no crowd pressure. There's no fan pressure. There's the media I think in New York the media is just more. I don't think there's certainly there's times where there's people trying to take angles to create a narrative or create a story that maybe is nothing. But I think for the most part, it's just more media. So in St. Louis, if you have 7 or 8 around your locker, in New York, you have 15 or 20, but they're asking similar questions. I think as long as you stand up and answer the questions, take responsibility. Um, I didn't find it, and I think Carp was probably there longer than me, maybe Lance too, but I didn't find it that all that different as far as addressing the media. But it'll be interesting to see. I think obviously Aaron Boone is taking a lot of the heat for not for they were just in the World Series last year. They won the first round this year. I think he's a good manager, but a lot of the Yankees uh, fans and people that I know are don't like Booney, or think he's time to go, or he's not a good manager, and I think he's done a great job as the manager of the New York Yankees. But when you don't win a World Series and you're not right in the middle of the World Series every single year, they start to get restless, and we'll see what happens.
Carp, what are the differences, say, St. Louis to New York, in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think both these guys kind of nailed it. It's there's an expectation there that World Series champs or bust. But as far as the differences, I mean, fortunately, we all got to play for another storied franchise with the St. Louis Cardinals. It's really not that dissimilar as far as an expectation to win and the great history and the amount of Hall of Famers that have played there. There's a quote like they say, the pinstripes can be heavy. I would agree with that in the sense of I think it's a tough place for a rookie to come up in that environment. I think for guys like us that went on and started our careers, playing for a place that was very similar, um, and kind of got to go through it and become established players, and then go over there and get a taste of the spotlight. Because ultimately, really what it comes down to, the biggest difference is just the amount of eyes on you. I just, I'm sure these guys can relate to it. They had similar experiences, but when you go over there and you do well, it just felt like you were getting so much more attention. Um, we all played well in other places, and um, when you play well there, it just feels like you're just, the coverage and the eyes on you are just a little bit more, um, to an extreme, and that can go both ways. If you're playing poorly, it's a lot more eyes on you, and it can have an impact. So as far as the differences, I mean, if you're, I think we can all agree not every organization is to that level and has that expectation of winning. But having played in St. Louis, I mean, it was very similar for many years here. And New York has that on a consistent basis.
What about? I'm going to follow up with you, Carp. What about the fans? Are fans the same everywhere? And I'm talking big picture. You have some, bad fans, some good fans. Overall, are fans the same, or is there a definite, noticeable difference in your eyes?
I mean, there's a difference. I mean, the look, the East Coast, it's just they're a little harder on you. Equally as passionate. But I mean, you you don't you don't see the same. I mean, it's kind of hard to describe just the difference, but I mean, those places can get really loud. And not that St. Louis can't get loud, but it's just a different crowd. And I'm curious what these guys think, but it does feel different, stadium to stadium. Everybody has their own unique kind of pulse when you get into a game. I mean, there's just a different buzz, at some of those ballparks on the East Coast. Would you guys agree?
I think 100%. You're looking at a big market. Here's the truth of the matter. When you're in St. Louis, I liken this to when Paul Skeens was in St. Louis last year and they were like giving him a round of applause coming off the mound. If he was in New York, they'd be telling him to fuck you and fuck your mother, right? And in St. Louis, they're giving a round of applause. In LA, same thing. Go fuck yourself. So that's the difference in fans because it's like, okay, you did well, but you can kiss our ass. That's the way those fans feel like.
Yeah, 100%.
I
What
think that's
about
the
you,
easy
Holiday?
way to sum it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Carp said, I think every fan base and every ballpark has a different feel to it. Like, you just, I had heard all the horror stories about Philadelphia, and I didn't have that experience. Like, they weren't as harsh and personal, and like, I liked playing there. I thought the environment was great, and maybe they were worse to the pitchers in the bullpen because they were right on top of them. But certain places that you hear about, that being super bad sometimes weren't bad at all, or certain places that you would assume would be mild, would be the places where you would want to go up into the stands and kill somebody. So I think every stadium, like Carb said, has kind of a different feel to it. It was cool because I don't know if those guys did, but I got to play in the old Yankee Stadium, and just like the environment and like the walking through the tunnels of the old Yankee Stadium and the pictures and stuff of playing where Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and all these guys played, like the just kind of that feel. And then like Wrigley Field has this old school feel, and Fenway Park, and then so it's interesting because all the fields, when you get there and you go walk to the clubhouse and then you go out on the field, and then when the game starts, they all have kind of a different feel to them that makes it original. And some places are more fun to play in than others, but they all have their own personality.
I want to move on to another topic from the postseason. Uh, it's a tough one because Clayton Kershaw, this is his last season. He just announced that recently, and he's had problems in the postseason. But obviously, one of the best pitchers of our generation. And last night he got beat around, as we put this show together, and as Matt Holliday likes to say, as we put it in the can. But he got knocked around last night. So Lance, you see a guy like that, and you look at his numbers, and they're great. And then you look at his postseason numbers; they're not great. And he wanted to prove something, in his last season about the postseason. It was for me. It was a little tough to watch. What just your thoughts on Kershaw being one way in the regular season? And he has his records around 500 in the postseason, but the ERA is much higher. Just your thoughts on that kind of conflict.
I think that obviously the postseason's a little bit more heightened. You're going to have, those games where it happens like that. You're looking at in the points of his career where they have some of the blowups have happened late in games and stuff like that. So in the age of baseball that is now, early on in his career, he probably wouldn't even have been in the games nowadays. So you're kind of looking at the game's a little different now than it was when he first came up, and going deep into games in the playoffs kind of doesn't exist anymore, and he got beat up late in games. But like I said, everybody kind of goes through that. He was been so great in his career in the regular season. I think he's like sub 2.7 or something like that career in the regular season. So his playoff thing is even more heightened because of how different the numbers are. But I think that over the course of his career and over the course of some playoffs, he's righted some of those things. I mean, he's a multi-time World Series champ and stuff like that. So you sit here and say, oh, he was bad in the playoffs. He just wasn't as great as he was in the regular season. And that will happen sometimes. And it's kind of surprising, to be honest with you, because of how great he's been in the regular season. And I don't know what the cause for the playoff blow-ups were, but you've seen some of the years where they've gone deep in the playoffs, and so that's the years that he's done well. So, if you want to, you can kind of nitpick a little bit, but yeah, he could have been. He would tell you he should have been better in the playoffs and should have been better last night. That's just who he is too, which is what you respect about him. But it's kind of surprising if you see the numbers compared to playoffs and regular season, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's had good moments in the postseason, Holiday, and he's well respected. Just your thoughts on the difference, though. There is one.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching last night, and I just thought it's sad that was probably his last outing. I mean, even if they advance, I think the way he pitched last night, they, I don't know, maybe they do add him to the roster in the next round, but I mean, that could potentially have been the last time he pitched, just based on the results and how his pitches. I mean, obviously now he doesn't throw 97, and his breaking balls don't break like they used to. So it was kind of sad watching him last night get beat up. And what I mean, just again, my opinion, I watched it thinking this is um, probably his last outing of his career. But look, he's an incredible person first and foremost, and has done a lot of amazing things off the field for a lot of different causes, and he and his family are very giving and have done amazing things. So I think first and foremost, I just have a ton of respect for who he is as a person. But he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Look, the postseason is tricky. Like, judging somebody on the postseason is tricky. I mean, like Lance said, his expectations and the bar that he set in the regular season is almost impossible to uphold in the postseason. And I don't know why. There was certain innings where even against us with the Cardinals, where we would get to him late in games or have big swings off of him. It's not like his stuff went away. We didn't have, and a lot of people were saying that we were stealing signs or that we had a tip, or I don't remember any of that. I don't think we had any of that. I think it was just one of those things where baseball's crazy, and sometimes you catch him, you clip him. Carp got him. Matt Adams got him. Like, just things that don't maybe on paper make sense based on the regular season and some of the numbers. But that's what makes baseball great. And so like I said, I have a ton of respect for Clayton Kershaw. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's had, he's an all time great. And just sometimes you hang more pitches. Maybe he's trying to, maybe in his mind, he's like, trying to really prove that he is who he was in the regular season, and so he's trying to spin that ball a little faster, or you just never know what's in his head as far as what causes pitches, maybe more pitches to hang, or maybe his command's not quite as great as it was during the regular season. And but like I said, all in all, he's had an amazing career.
Carp, you did get him, as Matt Holliday said, but just your thoughts on Kershaw, maybe as a person and as a pitcher.
Yeah, I think everybody made some great points. I think, you know, as far as respect goes for Clayton Kershaw, universally across the league from players, I mean, he's at the top of the list of guys that you just respect everything about, like who he is, the competitor he is, the career that he's had. He's done it all in one organization. I mean, single handedly. I mean, you want to think about postseason, and you talk about, postseason and playoffs and things that have happened, both good and bad for him. I mean, without Clayton Kershaw, postseason for a lot of those teams, they're not even going to be there to begin with without him. I mean, just the load that he carries throughout the regular season for so many years was nothing short of, remarkable. We're talking about guys who won multiple Cy Youngs, MVPs, just been utterly dominant for a majority of his career. So, as far as the respect goes for him, it's as high as anybody in the game. And, I think everyone made great points. I mean, I really loved what Lance said. I mean, a lot of some of the hiccups that he had that were kind of the ones that stand out were after he had dominated for 7 or 8 innings, and we got to him. Whereas, today with the modern bullpens and the way the game's played today, he the third, fourth time through the order, you go back to some of those moments, he wouldn't even have been in there. Specifically the one, that I think of with that happened with me. I mean, in LA, I mean, I think it was the seventh or eighth inning. I mean, I've already faced him 3 or 4 times, and just like that never happens anymore. You never get to face a starter third or fourth time. So I think they're all great points, but at the end of the day, you tip your hat to a guy who's had the career that he's had, regardless of any kind of postseason hiccups.
One of the things that's come up a couple times in the postseason is, I don't know if you call it sign stealing anymore, but guy at second base trying to tell the hitter where the pitch is coming or what the pitch may be from the dugout, giving signals with arm gestures as to where the pitch is coming. And I don't really understand the outrage. And tell me if I'm wrong. You guys know it more than me, but to me, that stuff is part of the game. Like in game, that's not really break it. It's not like you're using technology or a camera or some other way to signal to your hitter, right? Isn't Lance? Is that just part of the game? And you
I
just
can't
gotta.
I can't wait to hear this. I want to hear what these guys. What was that? What was I watching? I didn't like. I couldn't even
I
like.
think it's bull crap. I
What
think it's
was?
all I think it's all like I don't what could they unless the pitcher was literally like showing him the grip. I mean, and certainly we would be more subtle than like sticking your arm out. Like I think it's all bull. I think it's guys trying to get in the pitcher's head. I don't think there's anything to that. I just can't imagine that anybody is tipping like when they check the runner at second and he's doing this, like the next pitch, Lance, aren't you gonna like close your glove off? Like I don't think anybody's this dumb to give it away so much so that the runner's out there doing like again, and if you do have a signal or a tell, why would you make it so obvious? Like why? Because you
I
want to keep it. Like you want to keep that secret that you have the tell, or you have his grip in his glove. Why would you make it so like? Again, the whole thing makes no sense, and that's why I don't believe it. I think it's the runner just trying to be funny and get in his head or something. I'm with you, Carp. I don't know what it is, and I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just trying to get up in the pitcher's domes and see if they can't make him make a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's more that than anything these days. There's so many things that are on you at all times to make sure that you are.
Speaking on
Say
you,
hi, Dutch. What's up, dude? Can you say hi?
Hey,
There's so
buddy.
many cameras and stuff on you now that you know all your tells and you fix them in bullpens throughout the week. A lot of the stuff now that are doing, if anything, that you get is maybe the catcher's setting up. They see him set up, and then it's just a hey, we can tell you the tell in or out, right? That might be the only thing, and then they don't care. It's like, hey, your catcher's setting up too soon. So I think that's it. And if it is nothing, it definitely is something that the whole group or the pitchers start like worrying. Oh, what are we have tells or the catcher's setting up too early, and then it messes with people's brains.
I saw that, and I'm thinking to myself, they are trying to get into the pitcher's head. So, one, if the catcher adjusts based on what the base runner or some guy in the dugout is doing, then the other team wins. They've already made you react to what they're doing. Secondly, if you put that in a pitcher's head, whether or not it means anything, you won the battle, right? Am I wrong? Someone jump in and tell me
I,
I'm wrong.
I,
No, that's
I
what it
think,
is. It's making sure pitchers aren't fully locked in. I mean, if that's your way to mess with them now, then hey, that's how it works.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I was trying to decipher also, like, all right, based off of the move he was making or the signal he was giving, what I as a hitter would think was what was if he really was signaling something, what I thought it would be, and I was like, it was not anything. Like to me, I'm with Matt. Like that was a distraction, and Lance distraction technique, getting your head technique, get the other team thinking about you. It was too blatantly obvious, and it was too. Um, it just looked like more of a skit than an actual like, hey, I'm gonna if I'm at second base and I'm got something and Matt's coming up in a big spot and I'm gonna find a way to give it to him, nobody's gonna know that but me and Matt and me and the hitter. Like the last thing I want is for them to know that I'm giving something because guess what? They're gonna change something and we're not gonna be able to give it anymore.
yeah.
So it's just I don't know what that was. That's why that was very interesting.
Mind games. I honestly think it was mind games. Um, there's some moves around Major League Baseball. One involves a friend of you guys. Skip Schumaker is going to take over as the manager of the Rangers. I think a lot of people figured that move was coming when he went into their front office. Skip with pedigree with the Marlins made a team better than anyone thought they'd be, and then they sold off all his players. Um, just your thoughts, because you look at Skip and Rangers, pretty good ball club. I'll go back to you, Lance Lynn. What is it about Skip that you think would make him a good manager? Because small sample size, he's had quite a bit of success.
I'm just waiting for them to name Matt Carpenter as the bench coach. Is what I'm
Oh
waiting for down
gosh.
there, just so Skippy can just dominate him every day and make him do all of his pitch work.
Yeah, it would take me
That's what
back to
I'm
my
waiting.
rookie year. Gosh.
Right, I would love it. I think Skip's the man, and y'all. I mean, a guy that's grinded through his career. Grinded through coaching and just kept building his way up. Was a great manager, and then they didn't help him out in Miami while selling everything off, and kind of they had a whole regroup in the front office while I was there, and he had to deal with that, and he took it on the chin, and then he went and did what he needed to do in the front office this year, learned everything about what they're doing in Texas and the organization, and then now he's getting a managerial job. So couldn't be more happier for him, for a guy who's deserved it, not only as a from his playing days on to now. He's done everything the way that it should be done.
And Matt, I know he was your little buddy for a long time, still is. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, I there was times like in the last couple years where I was talking to Skip about baseball, and I'm like, when did you get so smart? Like, I don't remember you being this smart when we played together. Like, I knew you were smart, but you were always so panicked that you were in the lineup that like we never had any like we never we never had any like intellectual like baseball talk. And then he goes and works in San Diego, and he's bench coach, and he's working in front offices, and then he goes to you know Miami, and then now he's in Texas, and we have these conversations, and I'm like wow, like you're really smart. Like so, I think it's been cool to watch his ascension to where he is in the game and the respect that he got, and he probably could have picked whatever manager job he wanted this offseason. because I think the industry respects him that much, and I think he is a game changer. Like there's a lot of managers that are neutral, that I think are fine, that won't hurt the team and not necessarily add too much to the team, and I don't think have a big sway on a season. But I think Skip is a game changer because I think he has enough front office knowledge to be able to communicate well with them, and I think he played and has the knowledge to communicate with the players. So I think he's the ideal fit for me right now with managers as far as being able to speak the language and talk the talk with the analytical people and the front office, but also has the grit and the understanding of what it's like to have your cleats in the dirt, in the box and out on the field. So for me, Skip, we've had a lot of conversations and talked about good fits for him. And obviously when Texas hired him, it was pretty much a no brainer, that this was going to happen. I just didn't know when, or, you never know with Bochy how long he wanted to do it. I think if they would have kept Bochy another year, Skip probably would have bounced to I think he was ready to be a manager again. But for him to get that Texas job and then have spring training closer to his house in California, and his son is going to TCU next year, which is cool
Go
for
Frogs.
him. Shut up, Carp. Is
That's right. He's a TC.
Was it this thing?
Yeah, right.
You know what? I'm sorry I brought that up.
Go Frogs.
I actually didn't mean to mention TCU.
Well, I would have done it, so it's okay.
But
It
yeah,
was coming.
so
Well, Lance broke the news that Matt Carpenter will be joining Skip as his bench coach. So, Matt, tell me about what you think it's going to be like working with Skip.
It's nice, but
I'm
there's
a
no news,
reporter. I gotta
no,
sensationalize it.
no news being broke. Matt kind of stole my thunder. That was going to be my line. That my big take on this topic was that his son Brody was coming to play for TCU, and it was a great fit.
gosh, that's
But
not original. Come up with something else.
he beat me to the punch. But nah, everything they said is spot on. I mean, Skip's awesome. He's super respected from not only his own playing career. I mean, he's kind of done it all. He's been a starter. He's been a bench guy. He has a great feel for the players. He's personable. He loves on them, but he's hard on them. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, Skip, for guys that maybe don't know, I mean, Skip comes off really, as this great guy, and he is a great guy. But Skip's got some fire in him. I mean, he can be tough, and he's got, it's a perfect balance for a manager, and really, really great for the player, today's player, that they like, from the analytical side that he's learned, and still has the old school, mentality. He's going to be great. He's already been great, and Texas is a great spot for him.
What's his middle name? Jared?
Jared.
Jared Sign. I know you used to call him Jared. That was a lot of fun. Now, some of these moves are interconnected or possibly. So it's all speculation now. Skip takes over in Texas. Now, there are reports that Yachty is talking to the Cardinals about joining their coaching staff. And then you think, well, who would maybe want to go and join Skip in Texas? And you got guys he played with like John Jay and Daniel Descalso. So, Lance, how do these things work, do you think? Is it one guy calls another? Is it predetermined? How does all this work?
No, I don't think anything's predetermined. I think obviously if the fit's there, if a guy's contract's expiring and stuff like that. So there's a lot of logistics that have to go on. What it would look like. You're talking about JJ and Descalso, like two guys that are kind of cut from the same cloth as Skip. With the things in the route that they've taken in their careers too. So, you're looking at, I know Matt's got golf lined up every day for the rest of his way, so the bench coach isn't there for him. But like a John Jay as bench coach for Skip too is a good fit too, and they were on the same staff in Miami. There's a lot of those things when you start going down that tree of like how it works. And there's nothing better than a coaching staff that know each other, get along, and are all pushing in the same direction. So I don't think it's like, hey, call and let's do this. We're going to go here. I think it's one of those things where we know each other well, we respect each other, we know that we're going to get what we need out of each other to make the team the best it possibly can be and give the players what they need. So I think it's more along those lines than anything else. And you're starting to see some of the, I guess you'd call it the tree. When you start seeing coaches, managers get spots, you're starting to see the paths they come from and what teams are trying to build and how they're going to structure those coaching staffs. And I've been on teams where coaching staffs kind of come from multiple different spots, and it's a weird vibe. So you want to make sure you have a group that works together well, and it makes it a lot more fun for the players because you're getting the same message from each guy. You know, of anybody undercutting anybody.
If you've worked together and you've played together and you have a chemistry, I would assume that's important, Matt, right? If you're a manager and you're putting together a staff, you're going to try to reach out to guys that you fit with, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that to me, if I ever was a manager, I would certainly call the guys that I know the best. Like, I don't think you would want to. I mean, there may be times where you can't fill all the spots with guys that you're super familiar with or you played with, and then I think that's where you call resources, or you call people that they know, or people they coached underneath, or people that know them well. But yeah, I mean, I think you start with the guys that you're super comfortable with their knowledge of baseball. You're super comfortable with your relationship with them. You know what you're going to get out of them. You know their work ethic. You know how they handle players, how they communicate. And then people, I think, as a manager, you want to be around guys that you enjoy being around. I mean, it's a long season, so if you're going to be a good manager, you want to be around guys you enjoy, that you have fun with, that make it. It's not a drag to come to the park, and the players feel that. And if the players know that the coaches are getting along, and the coaches enjoy it, and the coaches are having fun, and then they feed off of that. And so I think all those things are important, and I'm sure, Skip, you don't take a manager job unless you've kind of already got who's going to be your coaches. And I'm not saying you tamper with other teams' coaches, but there's always that sort of thing where it's like, hey, if I get this manager job, these are my guys. And obviously, like Lance said, contracts and things like that, but typically those coaches are under 1 year deals. So you can pretty much get any coach, every year is like they're up for a new contract. So I would be surprised if you don't see some familiar names on Skip's staff.
So, Matt Carpenter, in my eyes, you've already spent a year coaching. Your last year with the Cardinals, part of it was they wanted veteran leadership, and I understand you took that seriously and had a big role doing that. Right now, you're playing a lot of golf. You're pretending to take care of things around the house. You drop the kids off at school, happens to be on the way to the golf course. Things are pretty good in Matt Carpenter's world. So my question is, do you see yourself getting into coaching somewhere along the line? If so, when?
I mean, I don't know. I could see it happening. It's certainly not anytime soon. And the golf thing is a joke. I mean, I do play a lot of golf, but it's not like it's not my future by any means. I
How
mean,
come Lance Lynn is laughing? How come Lance Lynn is laughing?
I mean, it's killing some time now. But I mean, right. My main focus is my family, my children. I've got kids that I love being here for and want to coach their teams. And it would be really hard for me in this phase of life to go back into. I mean, if anybody knows, it's the guys on this call. Just the grind that a major league season is, and what that looks like. And we're all the same way too. Like, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna go all in on it. And I'm not in a position in my life where I can commit to something like that. Because it wouldn't be fair to my family, but also wouldn't be fair to whatever staff I would join, just because I don't know if I'm ready to go all in. And um, I want to coach my son in all his little sports, and my daughter. And so, long-winded answer, yes, I could see it happening one day, but it's certainly not anytime soon.
Not long-winded. I think it was a perfect answer. I wanted to move on to some about the Cardinals because we might end up being a show more about the Cardinals, but we're going to hit on all baseball topics. So I'm looking at the crowds, we're seeing in the postseason, and it kind of makes me Jones for the days when the Cardinals had that, sometimes that kind of energy during the regular season. And the celebrations and stuff, you guys used to be in on it semi regularly, if not regularly. And I know winning's important. Some people talk about, well, in bigger jumbotron or do these kind of skits. I don't think anything like that necessarily is that important in St. Louis. You have to win. So I'm going to go back to Lance Lynn. Like they're talking about the reset. Heim is in place. They've already spent money in development. They plan to do that. What do the Cardinals have to do to get fans back in the seats and also excited and an energetic place where it's fun to play?
I think, all right, here's the truth. If we're going to, like, let's say, get rid of the payroll that's still there that they want to get rid of and go youth, just be open and honest about it and say, hey, like, this is what we're building. And St. Louis fans will get around what they know is coming and what they know is going to be there. But it's like stand pat to what you're going to do. There's a lot of good pieces in the organization and on the team that you could, if you say you clear some money and then you add a couple little things around the youth, so it doesn't get overexposed at times throughout a regular season and how long it is. You got a chance to kind of surprise some people. And I think it's one of those things where when fans know that that's the thing, and then they can see it and they can build around those young kids of who they want to root for, whether it's, Mason, Burley, Gorman, Donnie, you know what I'm saying? There's stuff there, and it's like, hey, we want to be good, but we also aren't going to go out and get the Kyle Tuckers of the world. Because if you go get Kyle Tucker, that still doesn't make you a playoff team. You need 3 or 4 veteran-ish players that fill in on the right side hitting and a couple starters and a bullpen piece here or there that only cost you maybe 10 to $20 million next year just on a 1 year deal. And if you get rid of some of those things, next thing you know, you have a deep team, and then you still save money, and you're creating spots for guys. So the possibility of winning is there next year, but just say, hey, here's how we're going to win, and we're sticking to it, and we need you to support these young guys because they've got some talented guys that are fun to watch. Just let them go play and be about what you're going to be about, and not be kind of half in. So I'm anxious to see what Heim actually does and what he's able to accomplish, because some of those contracts are going to be interesting to move, considering their no trade clauses.
Yep, and with the labor situation the way it is, Matt, do you agree with what Lance said? Little honesty and build around youth, and Cardinal fans will come back.
Yeah, look, I'm always a jumbotron guy though. Like if you got a chance to throw up a giant jumbotron, I mean, I'm all about like, hey, let's enhance the during the game platform of having fun. And I think when you look at like even San Diego, the vibe that they've turned around in San Diego as far as like the in-game entertainment and what the way we went to San Diego, especially earlier in my career. The difference now between the in-game entertainment and just kind of the excitement and the game day experience that they've created in San Diego, I think is worth looking at. And so, yes, obviously you have to win games, you have to have direction, um, you have to have a plan, and I think Cardinal fans want to know the plan. But I do think that there's something to if you guys remember like the commercials we did in spring training, like they need to market their players and make a lot of these young guys like let the fans get to know and attach themselves to some of these young players to where they can't wait to go watch JJ Weatherholt or Mason Wynn or whatever young players that you think you want to build around. Like do stuff like that, make commercials, let people see their personality. um do things in between innings where the players are the spotlight of the jumbotron and fun games, and the in game entertainment is more a fan experience, and keeping young kids engaged in the whole game. And I just think that people are much more likely to want to go watch and spend their money on watching players that they know and that they've kind of build a rooting interest for, that they think, or could be there for a while. And so I think that there's a lot of, I think this is multifaceted. Obviously you want good players and win games. That's the first and foremost. People will come watch a winning team. But in the meantime, as you're building back to a potential, contender every year, I think there are some other things that you can do to make the fan experience, the game day experience, the stadium experience. I think you can improve all those things and the marketability of the players and just letting the fans get to know the guys better. I think all that can go into bringing the fans back.
So, Matt Carpenter, you're a dad with kids. You've been to ball games as a fan. What do you think brings people back to the stadium after a couple of rough years where they've lost some fans along the way?
I think all those are great points. And I agree with all of them. I'll just add one thing that, I think about just like myself, like right now as a fan watching any sport, like winning matters, the product matters, but I mean, at the other thing is like having great players. Like when I like Aaron Judge, I want to tune in to watch Aaron Judge ever taking it back. I want to tune in to watch Paul Skeens take them out. I want to watch, and there's lots of guys like that. And you think about, the heyday, so call it, of Cardinal baseball. I mean, Albert Pujols was an at bat you did not want to miss, and Yachty was a guy back there that you didn't want, Waino on the mound. These guys, like everybody, like having great players is what makes fans fall in love with a team and tuning in, having. And that's not to say that anybody here that is on this roster can't be that guy. I'm just saying that is what moves the needle for me as a fan when I watch. Like I'm a casual football, casual basketball fan, but when I'm scrolling my TV at night, like if Kevin Durant is playing, I'll tune in. If when Tom Brady was starting on Thursday night, I'm gonna watch it. Just having great players really helps. And I think that if one of these young guys that we're turning into one of those guys, that's going to help move that needle also, because they're all great points. Everything we've talked about matters, but having those guys in uniform that you're like, man, I don't want to miss this guy taking it bad, or I don't want to miss this guy's start day, that helps too.
No question. Players, obviously, bring fans in, and former players, hopefully, talking about going to the bathroom, bring viewers in for a podcast. And I think if that's the mission, we've accomplished it today. Gentlemen, I thank you. That's going to do it for this edition of
I
Serving It
mean,
Up.
I think Carp killed it. I mean, Carp came on. I mean, I don't know how often we can pull him away from the course, but
Yeah, get him straight. What time do we have push tea time back on Thursdays?
We'll push you back. We can work it in. Yeah,
It's
all about scheduling.
listen. It's a former player friendly podcast
plus
because
it's a money making machine, Carp. So you just
Huge.
the money will
Hey.
start to roll in. Like you just wait.
I can't imagine. I mean, 2,400 views. I mean, that's got to pay like
At-
cents on the
at-
dollar.
As of now, it can't even buy you a White Claw.
Yeah.
hold on. That's on one platform. That's on one platform. Did we lose Holiday? All right.
Dang it.
Matt, you were great. I hope we see more of you in the future as this show progresses. Like it's a work in progress. Like a baseball team, maybe has a couple of down years. We have had a couple of down shows. We're going to take off. So y'all want to be part of it. That's going to do it for this edition of Serving It Up. Thank you to Lance. Thank you to the two Matts. Hopefully, the next edition of Serving
I
It Up
lost you.
won't suck.